Hey, what's up, fight fans? Left Jab Lamont, Weigh-In Sports TV, coming at you with my prediction for the upcoming WBC interim super middleweight title fight between David, the Mexican monster Benavidez, versus Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. But before I get into that, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification button so that you guys know whenever I come out with a new boxing video. I have to admit that I'm very excited about seeing this upcoming fight, upcoming Saturday night. I'm really looking forward to the matchup between two top tier super middleweights from my vantage point who are not afraid of one another and would definitely, I believe, put on a great fight, a great show on Saturday night for all of his fight fans. David Benavidez is a perfect 27-0 with 23 KOs. He is a destroyer. He comes forward and he actually is every bit the monster monster that his nickname implies for sure. He comes forward and he breaks you down, he wears you down with constant pressure and is just really a beast to deal with for sure. I expect him to come at Andrade for the purposes of this fight uh, by walking him down. But I also think that he used to do a little bit of boxing, maybe at the front end of the fight to just kind of see where Andrade's going to attack him and try to expose him. I think that Andrade is a slick southpaw boxer who Benavidez expects to do just that for the first half of the fight. Benavidez may bit of an issue kind of catching up with and maybe even touching uh, Boo Boo Andrade for the first half of the fight. But as things kind of begin to slow down for Andrade, I think that's when Benavidez will ramp up the pressure. You've seen him do this against Caleb Plant, where it could be argued that Benavidez won one or two of the first 6 rounds, but it was clear that Plant clearly controlled it with his jab and his boxing skill the majority of the first half of the fight, that's for sure. But then, as pace began to slow down a little bit and Plant began to tire, Benavidez came on and began to, in effect, beat Plant up. Really, he really punished him. And Plant was barely holding on by the end of that fight, but he was able to do so. Um, I expect this fight with Andrade to be, in some ways, very similar, even though Benavidez will apply pressure. I think he'll have a tough time for the first half of the fight finding Andrade, as it is that Boo Boo is very elusive. He's a southpaw and he's very difficult to hit. So, and he's very good defensively. So I expect that that will show up right at the beginning of their match, of their fight. But I expect that to change as the fight wears on for sure. It moves from the middle rounds to the second half of the fight. Benavidez has a good shot to win this fight because he has a height advantage. He also has a slight reach advantage. He also has an age advantage. Boo Boo is 35 years old. I believe Benavidez is 26, 27 years old. So there's a youth factor in play here that works towards Benavidez' advantage, and I'm sure he's going to try to do everything he can to kind of take advantage of that part of it. For him to be able to come out on top, he's got to be patient. I also think that Benavidez has got to really gradually increase the pressure that he places on Andrade as the fight wears on for sure. And I think that he will have more and more success. And now, whether or not that's going to be enough to get him the victory, I don't know. We'll see, but he's definitely got an outstanding chance. On the other hand, I think that Boo Boo Andrade comes into this fight against Benavidez with not having the resume that he has, that Benavidez has in the way of uh, really notable wins on his record. He has won against Damon Nicholson, who's a very good super middleweight rather from Maryland, and he was able to look fairly good against him. Andrade has some things that would pose not only any conventional fighter issues or problems, but also fighters like Benavidez, big time problems. Boo Boo is very difficult guy to hit. He's very good defensively. He's He moves very well, and he also has not been in very many wars per se, in very many tough fights. He hadn't really taken a lot of punishment in his career so far, so I think that bodes well for him going into this matchup with Benavidez. I think that his slick southpaw style is going to present a problem for Benavidez right after the beginning, right at the beginning of this bout. So we'll see. We'll see if that plays out. I expect it to play out in some sense, somewhat like it played out, somewhat like the Plant and Benavidez fight played out at the very beginning, where Benavidez it takes a minute for him to be in his rhythm, but he's going to be patient and uh, and do what he needs to do to get to the later rounds, and that's where he expects to make his move. But Boo Boo is definitely not Plant. He's definitely a slick southpaw boxer, whereas Plant was a boxer, but he's conventional. I think that he is really got a really good chance to really pull off the upset. He's definitely a live dog from my vantage point. But my only concern with Boo Boo is that he has never been in with this kind of guy before, and I think that his his stamina at the beginning of the second half of the fight normally goes down a little bit, and I'm wondering if he can afford to really do that against this young, hungry lion in the form of David Benavidez. I really am concerned about how he's going to handle the second half of the fight for sure. He's definitely got all the craftiness, all of the guile and skill to be able to pull this off. But he's got some other things that he needs to be keenly aware of as he deals with this young guy in front of him in the form of Benavidez. So what do I think happens? I think Boo Boo forces this to be a a fight in the middle of the ring for the first half of the bout. I think it becomes more and more of an entertaining fight as it proceeds into the second half of the fight. I think that Benavidez becomes more and more effective, even though I think that Boo Boo will have his moments for sure where he actually scores against Benavidez as well. I just believe that at the end of the day, that the long layoff that Boo Boo had coming prior to him uh, having the bout against Demond Nicholson earlier this year is maybe a bit too much for him to be able to overcome versus a monster like Benavidez. I think that he will unfortunately begin to fade a little bit as it gets to the later rounds and into the championship rounds. I believe that Boo Boo will remain a dangerous opponent for Benavidez, but I think all of that pressure will be just a little bit too much for Boo Boo in the end. And don't get me wrong, I love Boo Boo Andrade. I love his style. I've followed him for a bit, and I think he's definitely a live dog for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if he were able to pull off the upset. But in this particular video, I'm pulling for. I'm actually picking David Benavidez to eke out a very close but unanimous decision over Boo Boo Andrade. Do me a favor. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your prediction is, and let's see if I'm either right or wrong or somewhere in between those two extremes. Okay. Thanks for watching. Weigh In Sports TV. Left Jab of the Mouth. Catch y'all next time.